All right, it's time to talk basketball. I'm Jose Salviati, editor at thebeachbasket.net. He is Steve Purciello, a longtime educator, vice principal, high school basketball coach, athletic director, and the host of Celtic Chalk Talk. Celtic Chalk Talk is a pod dedicated to the latest news and opinions surrounding the Boston Celtics from a lifelong fan, Steve. Celtic Chalk Talk pods drop every Monday, but this is the Shot Clock Pod, the best 24 minutes of random NBA thoughts online anywhere. This podcast was born out of the content of Steve's 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts articles, which he publishes weekly. Steve and I have exactly 24 minutes to discuss what's on his mind around the NBA. Today, we'll discuss his latest 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts article, where he shares his random thoughts now that the NBA Finals are set. Now, if you're listening to this, we are grateful. Thank you. You are listening to an independent fan driven show, one of many on the Peach Basket Podcast Network. We're not owned by a big media company, which means what you hear comes straight from real fans who live the game every day, just like Steve and I do. If you believe voices like ours should be heard, the best way to support us is simple. Keep listening, tell a friend, subscribe, comment. It all means the world, and we're grateful for all of it. When this episode ends, head over to the Peach Basket Podcast Network.com, head over to the peachbasket.net, and check out more fan run podcasts. And please help this independent network grow the way it started organically, one hoops fan at a time. All right, Steve, are you ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. Oh, wait, come on now. Boom, clock is ticking. All right. As always, you wrote a lot of interesting things about a variety of different topics. Today, I'm going to take them in order because they seem to be a really nice flow to it, right? We're going to start now, and I should qualify this. You wrote this, the first topic here, before last night's game. So we know the Spurs beat the Thunder. We know it's Spurs versus Knicks in the 2026 NBA Finals. But you wrote something interesting. You and I've chatted about this before, that the Spurs have a magic number when it comes to Wemby's touches, right? And you called out that it's not rocket science. Get the big man the ball. And what did you see there? Where was that magic number?
It was 20, but last night he only got 15 shots. 20 shots was the
Mm-hmm.
number. They won 3 games when he shot 20 or more, and they lost 3 games when he shot less than 20. Actually,
Yeah.
15, 16, and 17. Last night he had 15 shots. I struggle with the fact that they put him way up top. When Boston had Porzingis, they put him about a foot or so below the foul line, and they posted him. He's so big, he got the ball there. All he had to do was turn and shoot.
Yeah.
You could do the same thing with Wemby, and they
Yeah.
don't do that. And consequently, he's got to work for everything he does. And he's a very unselfish player. So there was a couple times last night we had an open look, and instead he kicked the ball and he threw it out to someone else on the other wing.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to watch, and I just don't think they're getting all the offense out of him. They were very fortunate last night. They shot very well, so that
Yeah.
helped them. But there's going to be nights where you got to go to him.
Yeah. Lots to unpack there. We talked about this a little before the show. When I look at Wemby, again, mentally, I see Kareem because to me, aesthetically, they're just built the same.
Always
And
goes back
and
to the Lakers. Always.
the Bucks or
Nah,
UCLA,
I
depends
think
on
the
your
Lakers. Go
perspective.
ahead. Go ahead.
But Kareem lived at the post. And here's a guy who was 7'2", taller than everybody at the time, just like Wemby is today. And he would get the ball at the post and he would swing one way, lift up his right hand and shoot the other. Very little movement, greatest shot in the history of NBA, the skyhook. Now, I'm not saying Wemby has to develop a skyhook, but you're right. It makes no sense to me that you put this 7'4" guy who is a foot taller than everybody with his hands up in the air. Why are you putting him just above the free throw line? And I get it. You want him to be that point sensor, that Jokic kind of player, but then he's got to work so hard. He's got to dribble. He's got to make moves to get down to the post where he wants to be in the first place. It doesn't make sense to me that he's working so hard. I just don't get it. So that's point number one. And then point number two, and I'd love your thoughts on both of these. You said it. Wemby would make those moves. He would get down, and all he's got to do is a little George Gervin finger roll or a dunk, but instead he kicks it out. And that happened not only for Wemby, but a lot of players on both teams. And this is where I'm starting to sound like an older guy myself, I think. But you got people driving to the hoop, and they've got a sure two. But instead, as the defense converges on them, they kick it out for a corner three, right? So they're figuring that corner three at 40%, give or take 35, 40%. I'd rather have that extra point than the two I'm going to absolutely have, which to me is, I don't know, it's weird. It's just that it's the new NBA. What are your thoughts?
First of all, when Boston did this with Porzingis and put him on the post, they did that late in the shot clock. So what I'm saying, that's like a safety valve. And the
Right.
same thing with Wemby. The first
Yeah.
15 seconds, he can play up top. And then as the clock
Yeah.
goes down, takes dives to the post, not to the post, but to the foul line area, because that's just common sense. But
Yeah.
they don't do it, and hopefully it doesn't come back and bite them in the next round because they need him to take shots and they need him to have the ball. But we
Yeah.
do. They, they shot the ball real well, but they've got some good offensive players on the team. Besides him, this team's
Yeah.
only going to get better. They're good. I don't think they're going to beat the Knicks, but I've been wrong plenty of times, so who knows? But this is get ready to see them in the finals a few more times.
Yeah. No, I am ready. They were my pick to win it all, and I'll state my prediction for the end. But okay, yeah, the game's different, but San Antonio's playing it well. The Knicks are the hottest of the two teams, I think. We'll see if this layoff is going to hurt them at all. Let's go to the East. Now, I read your comment and something clicked inside of me. I'm just going to read what you said. Kenny Atkinson apparently after game three said analytically we're 2 out of 3 in the expected score. We've won 2 out of 3, which I didn't hear him say. Right? Okay, I'm a West Coast guy, so that one kind of slipped by me. But I did watch a TikTok video, and I got to give a shout out. This is an account run by or with the name of Doug Lust on TikTok, and this is an incredibly talented dude who literally writes songs after every Knick game, win or lose. And so the game after Atkinson said this, he started off his song by having a guy hold a broom and he looked into the camera and he said, "Hey, Cavs, analytically, this is a broom." After game four, I should say. And I thought it was hilarious, but I didn't get the context until I read what you wrote. I did not know that Kenny Atkinson had
Yeah,
said that. What an absolutely dumb thing to say.
yeah.
It reminds me of we're going old school a lot here today, but I remember Patrick Ewing used to say his Knicks are better than the Bulls, even though he could never beat Michael Jordan and his Bulls. What a dumb mistake. And Kenny Atkinson put his foot in his mouth here.
You wonder a couple of things. First of all, he's trying to make his players want to play, and when he's behind them, and the coach
Yeah.
is supposed to be behind him. The other thing too, and now to be the negative person, is he scared about his job? And making a statement like that, we're so close. Now,
Yeah.
accordingly, Cleveland said a day or two later that he will be back, and I thought he would be. But is that part of that quote? Is something we're missing? And that's what I took.
Yeah, no, it's the kind of thing to me that you say in the locker room. That's something you say publicly, right? Because yeah, I get the motivation. I get, hey, listen, guys, we're this close. Just hang in there. But just to say that publicly is a mistake.
Em-
And I'm going to make
Embarrassing.
sure that embarrassing. There's no other way to put it. I will make sure to link to Doug Lust's video because if you haven't seen it, you got to see it and watch all of them. He is incredible.
It's kind
All
of
right.
tough to watch a happy Knick fan, so it's not a pleasant thing. Go ahead.
Okay, I get it. All right, great segue. Let's talk about the Knicks. Now, you called out that the Knicks have done something that in all your years of watching the game you've never seen. They're just steamrolling the competition, and they ended I think third, right, in their conference, and that's unusual for you. You've not seen that, but you said this about the Knicks: if they continue to play as well as they're playing, they'll be world champs in a few weeks. How big an if is that? In other words, I'm asking, do you think they can keep this going?
You know what? I thought there's going to be a night they're not going to play well. They're going to shoot
Sure.
poorly, and nothing's working. 4 times against Cleveland, it worked. A couple times against Atlanta, it worked. I mean, so I guess I'm wrong. I don't know what else to say. Against Philadelphia, it worked. They haven't had a bad night. So it's an amazing thing because, again, if you go back and study the NBA over the years, going back into the 60s and 70s, the teams that won it usually had the best or second best record, largely. As we got into the 80s, we got more playoff teams. Back in the 60s, there was only three teams. There's only 10 teams or so in the league, but three teams in each conference got in the playoffs, or four, whatever. So it wasn't as deep as the playoffs are now. But as we got into the 80s, you had teams like Houston, the Rockets beating your friends, the Lakers, and all that stuff going on, where they weren't a good team. They were 40 and 42 one year, and they got there, but they got hammered by the great wave of Boston. But the point being, if you go back and study this, you've not seen a team do this, and not come from being in third place and winning, but the way they're winning. They didn't leave any doubt. Every game over 10 points. I mean, to me, that there wasn't a game, even I believe the overtime game, the first game against Cleveland, when they were coming off a rest, I think they won by over 10 in overtime, or it was 9, whatever. But even that, they stormed them. So
Yeah.
I've not seen that. I've not seen any team do that in my years of watching the game.
Yeah, and we talked about it before here. For better or worse, oftentimes the NBA champion is the team that's healthiest and hottest at the right time. And now the Knicks aren't fully healthy. I want to we'll talk about Mitchell Robinson in a minute. So I don't want to jump to that yet, but they're definitely the hottest team in the NBA. So again, can they sustain it? Right? Because you wrote earlier not about the Knicks, but about how after a long layoff, that first game, it's a bit of a trap game, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would think it is going to be a trap game. But you know what? It was a trap game against Cleveland, and they figured it out at the end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I would think the Knicks will be favored. Maybe not in San Antonio, but I guess what I'm saying is throw everything out. This is illogical, and just nothing like this has happened. So how do you make a guess? Is my point.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And are Nick fans seeing, and I'm putting on my Knicks hat now, just thinking things through, they see similarities between the Knicks and what is it, the 1969 Mets, the Miracle Mets, catching lightning in a bottle?
No, the Knicks fans think this is the greatest team that ever played basketball. That's how they look at it. So you can't even spend time talking about that. They just, even when they won 20 games, those people still thought they were a playoff team. So you can't even do that. It's good for the city of New York. It's nice to see. It's a galvanizing thing for the city, and it's wonderful. And you take your hat off to them. They put it together at the right time.
All right, now we'll see what that means for them. Let's switch down to the Cavs. We talked a little bit about them. We talked about Kenny Atkinson's mistake, but they've got some decisions to make. This is a team that is in the hunt for possibly at least a discussion around Giannis. Of course, there's a lot of conversation about LeBron joining them in Cleveland for the third time. LeBron liking posts about his move there. So let me just ask it broad brush, right? What do you see? What do you foresee for the Cavs? Because they are close, right? What do they have to
Well,
do? Run it back, make some changes, blow it up?
if they run it back, they're going to be in the same place. They've got to decide if the word was that the end of the Koopa would come, or they'd get if they were willing to give up Evan Mobley with other
Yeah,
players. So that's a big decision. If you do get Giannis, and I think for me that's what I would do, because Harden's no spring chicken.
yeah,
So it's now or never. You made the move by bringing Harden in. It's now or never. Mobley might develop into a star, but when? And it might be too late because of what you've done or haven't done. So to me, and then the other piece to that is for Cleveland, if they had to throw a bunch of number one picks in, why not? They're going to be around the top. So you're going to get the 28th pick in the draft. Who cares? So to me, it all adds up in a sensible way. Your window's only 2 or 3 more, maybe 2 years with this team. And you got two choices. If you go for Giannis, you can take your shot, or you wait for Mobley to develop into the star you think he will be. I know what I would do. The thing I don't like is knowing that in 2, 3 years it's going to blow up. But
yeah,
that would be the choices I think you have. The other piece in the back door is, what if LeBron wants to come and wants to work cheap? He's not, as I wrote, he's not a guy that is your best player, but he can take you over the top. So
yeah.
that And don't forget the Cleveland thing. He's familiar with, but who knows what he wants? He's not. I don't see him taking 20 million. But I've been wrong before.
We're gonna talk about LeBron in a minute, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna push back on Evan Mobley, but I'm gonna
Right.
ask you about Evan Mobley. Mobley, this is an all-star. This is a guy who was All NBA second team. This is the guy who was former Defensive Player of the Year. Doesn't that qualify him as a star? Isn't he there? I know he's not Giannis, but isn't he a star?
Did you watch the game last night? Did you watch the
I
game?
watched last night's game.
Okay.
Yeah,
If I didn't talk about last night and I said Chet Holmgren, what do you tell me?
yeah. I'd
Forget
say
last
Chet
night.
Holmgren. Yeah. He's an all-star and he's a great player. He's a star.
How would he come up? How would he come up in a tough situation?
Not well. Yeah, under the lights, he had
How
two
did Jalen
shots,
Johnson?
four
How
points,
did
I think.
Jalen Johnson look for Atlanta against the Knicks?
I got you. So
You
you're
got
saying a
guys.
star does it when the lights are bright?
You got guys in the league who are very talented. I guess they're not alphas, and if they're not alphas, they might play. And you know what? On Tuesday night when they're playing whomever, Detroit or whomever, they might go off for
Yeah,
30 and a triple double and all that nice stuff. But
right.
you know what? Last night, Holmgren, I watched it and he was turning down shots. If you don't want to play in that game, you're not a star.
Yeah,
You're a good player. You're a real good player and worthy of an all star, but you're not a star. And
got it.
that's the point.
Got it. All right, yeah. So that's where you see Mobley. I get it. And let's explore OKC again. You didn't write about it because this came before the game, but we were talking about a multi-year dynasty for the Thunder at this time last year
Sure.
because they were the young team that won it all, and now they lost to a young team now we're talking about a potential multi-year dynasty for these guys. So what went wrong? Now we know that Jalen Williams being hurt. There's no denying that. There was too much riding on SGA, and he did the best he could. The other Jalen Williams stepped up. He was the only one with a plus minus on the plus side for the Thunder. But you mentioned Chet Holmgren just disappeared. What else went wrong? What did you see? Are the Thunder okay? Are they going to run it back?
If they run it back, they really have to sit and think about the fact that San Antonio will get better. Those guys,
Yeah,
Harper was
right.
making big shots last night, and he's a rookie. And
Yeah,
Castle is, what is he, third year or so, and second year? I mean, these guys can play. And Vassell and all of them, they all can play. So you got to think, like, these guys are all in their young 20s. They're going to get better. And Wemby's a kid. I mean, I thought he was the MVP this year, but he's a kid.
yeah,
So where is it going to go? It's only going to get better. And when they begin to understand and figure out each other, wow. And I didn't expect it to come on this soon with how good they are. And by the way, they defend really well, not just with Wemby in
do.
the pivot,
Yeah,
not with just Wemby because he takes away the dribble drive, but I'm talking about on the wings and all. They made, if you watch the game, they continuously made Oklahoma City's guys use their weak hand. In other words, Gilgis would always go left. They tried to force them to use their weak hand. And it says, and Oklahoma had a little trouble with that. So that was one of the things. And the only thing I see too is to beat San Antonio, you got to shoot the three and you got to shoot it well because you're not getting a lot of layups when he's out there.
right, right. And one other thing before we move off from last night's game, at the end of the game, you mentioned Vassell, who's I think been with the team, the Spurs. I think of him as a young guy. He's been there 5 years, one of the
In the
longest
bad
picks
days, he
Spurs,
was there in the bad days. Yeah,
which is always cool to see a player kind of have that experience. He took the ball, final seconds of the game, wide open, and he went with an emphatic dunk. Not needed, not necessary. I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to have another Nuggets Wolves blow up, right? Remember Jokic getting mad at Jaden McDaniels, but nobody cared, right? What's your take on those last minute emphatic dunks? Are they okay or not part of
I
the
think
game?
I think it's garbage. I think you won. What more do you want? You know, you got the win. Everybody's happy. So why incite somebody else? Just play the game, win the game, and move on. The younger generation is very big on not only beating you but rubbing it in your face. And who needs it? When Oklahoma City goes home and today they wake up, they're saying, we got beat. So
Yeah,
why do you have to dunk on somebody, dunk at the end of a game and do that stuff? What's the
yeah,
difference?
yeah. All right, got it. All right, let's go back to the Knicks and talk about Mitchell Robinson. We hinted at this before. The Knicks are not fully healthy, although Robinson's saying he's going to be back. He broke his pinky. Now, not Mitchell Robinson. I don't know. I want to be kind here. You called out his free throw shooting. He's not really known for his shooting. That's not his game. When I heard he broke his pinky, I thought, okay, bummer. That's a bummer. But tape it up and play the game. Maybe I'm being too hard nosed here, but is that going to affect Mitchell Robinson? Certainly, if it was Jalen Brunson and that was a shooting hand, of course. But is this going to impact this guy?
He had surgery, first of all. So,
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Oops.
It's, and I believe it's a bone, the pinky, but it's a bone closer into the hand. So it might control the hand. I don't think it will if he can play with the pain. I think he says he's going to.
That's the
If
key.
he
Yeah.
can handle it, because you're not going to see him shoot many threes.
Right.
It just, I guess he's going to try. Usually it's a couple weeks when a guy does that, but he's going to try within a week. So we'll see. Obviously, he'll be padded in that area. I don't even know if they play hack a bitch where they foul him. I don't even know if he
Mm,
can try it, how he's going to shoot the foul shot. It'll be interesting. But yeah,
yeah.
he says he's going to, and he's a valuable part of the Knicks. He's a good rim protector, the best rim protector they have, and a tremendous offensive rebounder. So,
Yeah.
he makes a difference in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. I think he's needed. And let's talk about Knicks and Thunder now.
Uh,
You concluded your article saying about the Spurs. They're young and good. That means that they'll get better. I think at this point, and you said that even today, at this point of the season, I don't think you have any rookies anymore. They're all grizzled veterans, right? But there is something about the light of a finals, right? It's the only game in town. Everybody's watching you. This is going to tell, right? So we talked already that the Knicks are the hotter team coming into the finals. The Knicks are also the older team, so they're a little bit more seasoned and probably ready to handle the final spotlight. You already said you see the Knicks winning. What do you think the key is to the Knicks winning it all, and in how many games?
I think it's six, and it's a good question. I think they're on a roll. I guess that's the best way to put it. I think they're on a roll. I said to you before, they played the Knicks during the regular season. San Antonio in the Garden. San Antonio couldn't make a three, and the Knicks beat them by about 8 or 10 or so. And I watched that, and if you're going to be dependent on the three, you got to. They did it last night, but you've got to do it. And I don't know if they can consistently do that to the Knicks. And the Knicks, let's face it, they're shooting well, they're defending well, they're moving the
Yeah,
ball well. I don't. I just think this is one of those things where you'll remember for a long time and talk about a team that came from nowhere. Going into
yeah.
the playoffs, people were saying Boston would beat them in the second round, and look at what happened. Come on. So I guess you go with the hot hand.
Okay, all right.
You want to talk about? You
So
want to talk about LeBron?
we don't have time to talk about LeBron.
Oh, okay.
We don't have time to talk about LeBron.
It's a good
But I do
subject.
want to share my thoughts on the finals
Yeah,
because, like I said, I picked the Thunder at the start.
yeah,
No,
you
the
did.
Thunder. No, the Spurs at the start. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. And it starts and ends with Wemby. There's nobody that can stop him if he can get it in his brain, like you said, to get up at least 20 shots. He's just indefensible. There's nothing you can do with the guy. But then you look at the team defense. Their defense is outstanding. Their young guards are so good. You had a situation in last night's game where I think Castle got his fifth foul, and then they bring in De'Aaron Fox, right? And what do you lose? Castle's great. De'Aaron's a different kind of player, but great. And in that pressure cooker moment, he's probably your best player. I just don't see a weakness in the Spurs right
My
now.
my question to you is, who's Wemby going to guard?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
He's not going to
does.
guard anybody. He's going to guard the paint.
Yeah,
You
it
think it
does.
matters?
So
Go ahead.
then,
Go ahead.
who technically would he be guarding?
Well, probably Robinson, whoever plays the five, right?
Towns will kill him. He'll hit the three all day. Towns is a good 3-point shooter.
True.
So I usually what teams have been doing is guarding Josh Hart with the big man and leaving Hart alone. But Hart shooting over
Okay.
40% from three. My
I got
thing
you. I got you.
my thing would be if you pull Wemby away from the basket, Jalen Brunson scores a lot of his points from about 10, 12 feet out, and it's his footwork in the paint. If Wemby's down there, erase that. That changes everything. If Wemby needs to come out and guard Josh Hart, or, and think about this, if the Knicks come with McBride, I think Josh Hart is such a energy player, so you need him out there. But if they come with McBride for Josh Hart, all five guys can shoot. Or Shabbat. They're all shooting well. What are you going to do? And
Yeah.
that's one of the many factors in this thing. And if you can pull Wemby out, oh my God, Jalen Brunson, it's Christmas for Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. You're presupposing that the Knicks stay hot. And if they do, yeah, I think all bets are off, right? Because again, the hot team is probably gonna win
Well,
it all.
I'm talking, God, for me to talk about the Knicks is just hard. But Hart shot over 40% this year from three. I'm not talking about just pulling this out. I don't know McBride's numbers, nor do I know Shabbat's numbers, but they shot well this year.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do as your fifth guy? And then, and if you're going to leave him open, you're spinning the dial. You know what? If they get off, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing.
And I think that's what makes this final so exciting and so intriguing. You've got two really good teams that are good defensive teams that we can call them young. The Knicks are a little older, but there's just two good teams. Both teams deserve to be here, right? Nobody had an easy road to get here. It's gonna be a great matchup. But you
Hey,
heard the shot clock go off. Oh, good. Final thoughts?
no, I thought somebody's got to rein in the. No, I'm not saying don't shoot, but rein in the guards on San Antonio and get them.
Yeah,
How many times did you see them come down the court and Wemby didn't touch the ball? That just can't go on. So
it
I
happened. You're
believe they
right.
do have to rein that in. Go ahead.
Agreed. No, that's it. A shot clock violation, another one for us. That's kind of what we do. Our time is up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to read Steve's entire 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts article. We'll link it wherever you're watching or listening. Steve hinted about some LeBron stuff. It's in there. Make sure to read that and join us next week for more random NBA thoughts as we recap the start of what I think is going to be an exciting NBA final. We'll talk next week. Thanks, Steve.
Take care. A couple things.